Hi everyone, I'm Oliver from Blendtuts.com, and as you may know, I'm working with a lot of people from all over the world in a short film called Luke's Escape. Recently, we released the trailer as well as an Indiegogo campaign to get funds to create the movie. Between the perks, there is a DVD with a series of tutorials based on the short film made by me. I decided to create a free quick tutorial about an effect that some of you have asked about, which is the title distortion effect at the end of the trailer. Alright, so for that we will be using armatures with bones to deform the title, and then we are going to go to Compositing to create some fade-ins and fade-outs, and also to give some brightness to the title. So let's get to it. We start, as always, deleting the cube. We are going to the top view, pressing 7 in the numpad, Shift A, and add a mesh plane. Okay, now before we scale this plane to the right size, I'm going to create here another view, and let's go here and open UV image editor. The reason is that I'm going to load the logo right here, right, the title. Alright, so we have it here. Now we can press N and see the properties. So we can see here that the image size is 1000 pixels and 500 pixels. So the aspect ratio is like 2:1, right? Because in the width is the double as the height. So we can just go ahead and scale this in the x-axis to enter, and we already have the right size in the panel, in the plane, sorry. So I can scale it up, and we already have the plane. Now press Ctrl A just to apply the rotation and scale, the scale only. So these are now the original size of the plane. Okay, now what we need to do is to just go to the edit mode, press Ctrl R, and divide this once, because so we have squared polygons right here. Now we select everything, press W, and press subdivide. And here in subdivide, let's increase a lot the number of cuts, something like that, and press again subdivide. Okay, and I think this is more than enough. Now with all of them selected, let's press U and unwrap, and we can see that we already have this fitting the title image. All right, the reason is that it's only a plane, so it's unwrapped in the right way already in just one step. Okay, so we can now just quit that view, exit from the edit mode, and let's apply a material. All right, let's go here, add a material, and this will be title matte. Yeah. Okay, so what we need to do is to apply here that texture. So let's go to the texture. Let's create a new one, title texture. Instead of clouds, let's pick image or movie, and let's go here to the drop down list and pick the logo that we just loaded. Now here in the mapping, let's pick UV coordinates. All right, and here we are going to activate the alpha channel. This means that the plane will have transparent areas depending on the transparency of the PNG that we are loading. All right, the alpha channel of the image. But for that to make effect, as you can see here, it's it's not working as expected. What we need to do is to make the material shadeless, so it's just like the image. The lights and shadows in the scene doesn't affect it. In fact, we can just delete that light in the scene. Okay, and now the other step is to go to the transparency, activate it, and with this set transparency, let's put it on 0. All right, this way the transparency will be 0 unless there is some alpha in the image we are putting into the material. All right, so as you can see now, this works as expected. So we can just pick this camera, press Alt G, Alt R. All right, and this will reset the location and the rotation. We can turn it up, press G and Z, and drag the mouse, something like this. So let's press F12 to check the render. And as you can see, we are already watching the title, and we see this gray background, which is the default background in Blender. Let's go to the world, and instead of gray, I want a black background. Let's press F12, and here we have more or less the title that we want. Right, then we are going to make some little compositing and everything, and now we just need to distort it. So now it would help to have the title watchable here in the viewport. All right, so let's first select this plane. Well, it's not actually needed to select the plane, but we can go here and add the texture mode, select the texture mode. What we are watching here is the texture we apply to the UVs of this object. Okay, it's not the material. What we want to see is the material, all right, with the transparency and everything. So we press N in the 3D view, and we go here to the display subpanel. And here, instead of multi-texture, which is what we are watching here, we click and select GL/SL. And now we can see the title with its transparencies and everything, because now it's showing up the material we just created. Let's visualize as well all these edges, because then when we place the bones to distort it, to distort this plane, we need to see you know, where the plane is and where the edges are. So let's go here to the object panel, and here in the display subpanel we can activate here draw all edges. All right, so this means we can activate the wire, so we are always watching the wire. All right, so as you can see, even if we select another object, we are always watching the texture over the wired mesh. All right, so let's create with Shift A an armature single bone. All right, and we are going to create several bones to distort this mesh. So let's enter into the edit mode, pressing Tab, move this one over the looks, Shift D to duplicate, X to move in the X-axis, and put this one onto escape. So as you can see, I have one bone on each word of the title. And now I'm just going to keep duplicating this to the borders like this. Okay, so this will help distort the overall effect, and these ones will distort the main title. Okay, so we have this. Now we exit from the edit mode with Tab, and now we select the mesh, press Shift, and select the armature, because we want to parent all this. So press Ctrl P, and as you can see, when we parent normal objects, we are only shown these two first options. But when we are working with a mesh and an armature, it shows us these other options, which include, you know, the automatic weighting of the mesh, which will make it deformable already. So let's use this option with automatic weights. And keep in mind that after you have done this, you can go ahead and add more bones, or, you know, change the effect of the bones on the mesh. I'm not going to enter into that in this tutorial, because you know, it's not the goal of this tutorial. So I'm just going to try to work as Blender already weighted the mesh. All right. So now we select the armature, we press Control Tab, and with this we go to the pose mode. We know that we are in pose mode because when we select an armature, a bone, it's shown on blue. Also, we can jump the pose mode right here. Okay, when we select an armature, we can go to the pose mode down here. So object mode, pose mode. Okay. So what we want to do is to select all of these guys, press I in the keyboard, and add a lock rod scale keyframe. All right, now we are going forward, like, for example, I don't know, 120 frames. Press E here in the timeline, so this will be the last frame of the animation. All right, we can also insert here in the end parameter, the 120. And now we need to distort all this. So select one bone, and as you can see, it's being distorted. So let's do something like this. We can also scale it to make some kind of, you know, blob effect. Let's decrease this one, rotate it in the opposite way. And we can, as you can see, distort these guys in kind of interesting ways. As you can see, you can play with it as much as you want. So select all of them. If we are in the pose mode, Blender will only select all the bones in this armature. All right, so with all of them selected, with A in the keyboard, press I and lock rod scale. So now we have a keyframe here, and this is the effect that we have. So you can see we are already distorting our title. Now I don't actually like the fact that this K is there, so let's move it down a little. Lock rod scale with I in the keyboard. Let's move this up a little. Select all of them again. I lock rod scale. Press A. And if we activate here in display only render, this is what we see. Already the final result almost. Okay, so as you can imagine, we can play with the animation to make it, you know, variate a lot more, or we can distort it even more. We can play with it as far as we want. Also, another thing that I would like to do here is to just show all of this. So we can select the bones and we can open a new window here, and let's open a graph editor. All right, so we have all of these curves for the bones. Select all keyframes with A on this window, and let's go ahead, press V in the keyboard and vector. So now this animation will be linear. All right. Actually, this is not actually what I want. What I want is to make that at the beginning is the deforming is progressive, deformation is progressive, but in the last keyframe, it's linear. All right, so let's select all these last keyframes with B in the keyboard to make a box selection. Select all of them, press V, and make them vector. That's right. So now what I have here is, as you can see, at the end, the distortion is linear. You know, you don't see how it ends, but at the beginning, it starts progressively to deform. That's right. So after this, I think we can already jump to the compositing stage. Okay, so first let's take a render, F12. Okay, so we have something to work with in the compositor. Now we can just join this. Now keep in mind that you can jump from full screen to not full screen with shift space. Okay, shift space. Okay, now we go for the node editor, and here I make sure that we are in the compositing nodes, not in the texture or materials. Compositing, and activate use nodes and activate backdrop. Now I make some space here. I press Control, left click and drag to cut this line, and Control Shift left click to create an automatic viewer to see what we are doing in the background. Let this in the distance. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to add some kind of contrast and brightness to this. Okay, some shininess. So let's press I. Okay, let's make a color, RGB curves, and let's add some contrast probably. Okay, something like that. So you know, so the whites are really pushing the image. Okay, something like that. Okay, now I'm going to add a filter, blur, put it right here, and actually use this image. So let's use it here. Control Shift and left click to see what we are doing with this, and try with 40 and 40. Maybe 60 and 60. Okay, this could do for now. And let's actually duplicate this one. And also press Shift, left click, drag and cut a line here. So we create a reroute node. So we can just have 2 exits from this output. And this one will be much lower. Something like 20. Okay, something like this probably. So we can go here to color, mix. And we can mix the original one with this blurred one. Let's see what we have. And instead of mix, let's put it on add mode. Maybe let's try with overlay. No, add. Okay. Let's let it like this for now. I will tweak it later. Let's duplicate this node. Okay, so we have that image here and we add this one on top. Okay, so this is nice. Now, I can just try to increase this one even more to make an effect of a lot of brightness there. And we can decrease this to 0 and start growing it until we like it. Okay, something like this could be enough. And now let's go with this one. This one will actually push the brightness very close to the letters. All right, something like this could do. Let's compare the beginning with the end. This one and this one. So yeah, I kind of like it. Okay, so we have this, and now I really want to do something, which is making the fade in and fade out effects. Okay, so how to do that? Well, let's go for the color mix. And before the color mix, I will add a blur. Okay, and the color mix will have a black here. So this will be on 0. Okay, actually it will be on 1. Okay, so let's do this. Here it will be, let me just experiment a little bit. 30 probably, 30, 30. Okay, and activate bokeh to see how it gets better. Let's try with another algorithm here. Tand, maybe cubic. Okay, yeah, this one. Okay, so it's 30 and 30. So we are in the frame 0. In the frame 0, this should be 1. Okay, because we want it completely black. We want to fade in. And pressing I on top of one of these parameters will create a keyframe there. Do the same with this blur effect. And just make this transition will be really quick. So in frame 10, we are going to reduce this to 0 and press I and reduce this to 0 as well and press I on each one of them. So now, as you can see, we have a fade-in effect already done from completely black and blurred to not blurred and normal. And now we need to do the same exact effect at the end, but this time it will be a little slower, like 20 frames, okay? So let's start from 0, press I on top of these parameters, all right? And now let's go to the last frame and just put this on 1 and these two on maybe something more than at the beginning. All right, let's put this on 0 to see how the effect is working. All right, this is probably a lot. Let's try with 40. All right, I think this is enough. So let's put it on 1. I. And as a last thing we need to do, let's put this on the composite node. So we have an output actually. So we can go here, press F12, and this is what we should see. Okay, and now this should be distort and everything. I will just render the animation, and yeah, this is for the tutorial. Now in the, I will say goodbye and everything after the render has been done, so I can explain something over the final animation. By the way, I just forgot it. Before we run the whole animation to render the animation, we should go here to in the render panel, the one with the camera. Let's go here to the output and just select here an output channel. Okay, so let's go here, tutorials. Let's go to looks escape, result, and as you can see, I already have a result here. But I really want to create a new folder. So I can press I in the keyboard, create new directory, press enter, and create here tutorial result. Okay, so I can click here and looks escape title animation, right? Accept, and just make sure that I'm using the right, PNG, right, which is what I want, because I want a PNG image sequence. So now the output has been selected. I just can save this with, okay. Here is another little tip, and if you are saving your scene with save as, if you go here and you have a name, if you press plus in the numpad, it will increase or decrease with minus the number of the version you are working on. So this is really, really fast when you want to save a new version of a file. All right, press enter, and now you can press Control F12, or just go here and click on animation to start rendering the whole animation. And this is the result of this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. I made it to give a little more presence to the project we're working on, and if you like it, please support us on the Indiegogo campaign. You can find the link in the description below. Only a few days are left, so be fast. Maybe in the future I'll sell the tutorials from Blendtuts.com, but for now you can only pre-order them from Indiegogo. See you soon, and happy blending!